1 second. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of North Node Live. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. Today we have with me the awesome Cesar Marin. Thank you so much. I'm just thrilled to have you here. Thank you for joining today.
Maggie, thank you so much. Thank you incredibly, one, for opening your space to letting me have this amazing conversation. You and I have sort of been back and forth on LinkedIn, really sort of seeing what we're doing, supporting each other. So for me to now be able to sit down with you and have this conversation is something I've really, really been looking forward to.
Awesome. Yes, I couldn't be, more excited. It really, truly is special. I was thinking about just that when we connected on LinkedIn and just, another supportive voice in the space. And you've been a little bit of a mentor to me. And I just really appreciate, your the effort and the devotion that you put into this work. And I'm just so excited to start talking about some of, well, first of all, your story and why you're here in this space, but also some of these special, amazing offerings that so excited just to, get out there and put out there into the universe for you. But let's start with, I think, just reflecting on this episode title, which I've decided to call The Art of Reinventing. I think in this space and just working now going on 4 years with people, it's safe to say that so many of us are not only, feeling blocked in some ways, but, life is lifing. And I cannot tell you, the amount of times, not only in my personal life, but friends, family, personal sphere, this idea of the rug being pulled from underneath you. And whether that's, a career change, loss of a family member, relationship, breakup, heartbreak, all of these things. And I think I'd like to start there. I'd like to hear, I know you have your history working with CNN as a producer, and can you kind of walk us through in the best way you know how, kind of from your whole story and how you've been learning to work with these medicines to evolve and re-identify. And yes, let's kind of get into the meat of that. I'd like to hear, I guess about your producer days first.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Meg. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me share my story and talk about reinvention, right? Talk about reinvention at a really late age. And I love that you titled this episode that, because if I think 5 years ago, right, if someone would have told me what I'd be doing now, I'd be like, you're crazy. Because 5 years ago, I was a producer at CNN. I'd been there for 25 years. And I was on a hamster wheel. I was on the corporate hamster wheel that a lot of us eventually get on. I was also having a really bad relationship with cannabis. I had a really toxic, dependent relationship with cannabis, but I was a functioning cannabis user. And about 4 years ago, right before, like you talked about, that the rug was pulled out from underneath me, by being laid off at a place where I'd been for 25 years that identified me. I was Cesar Marin, the CNN producer. That's who I was. And that was taken away from me at a really late age, at the age of 55, where it's like, let's be honest, there's not a lot of people hiring 55-year-old TV producers. One, TV's dying, right? Two, I was working in sports. I was a sports producer producing half-an-hour sports shows for CNN, getting the cover of the World Cup, getting the cover of the Super Bowls, getting the cover, whatever. But I was just a sports producer. So where was I going to go? Who was hiring a 55-year-old producer? Was I going to open up my own production company? And it was amazing because plant medicine came into my life right before that. It knew when it most needed me. And I always talk about this calling, right? There was a calling, and the medicine was really kind to me. How someone really close to me who had an experience and shared the experience. And it was funny because obviously me who had been stigmatized. I mean, I was born in 1967, so I
Right.
was stigmatized that psychedelics were bad, that they were going to go crazy, they were going to whatever,
Mm.
you're going to lose your mind. And as this person tells me their experience, me, the cannabis addict, was there saying, yeah, whatever, druggy, stoner, hippie, what do you do? You're losing your mind, whatever.
Mhm.
That type of hypocrite. And it was funny because the medicine, a couple weeks later, brings me a real close friend who has had a mushroom experience, and he is able to guide me to get psilocybin. And
Wow.
everything changed. It was sort of the medicine came to me, and I call it medicine. For me, it's medicine. It's a life performance enhancer for me.
Mhm.
I never use the word, the DR word, the DRUG word,
Right.
because they're not. I think sugar's a drug. I think caffeine's a drug. I think
Yeah.
alcohol is a drug that kills millions of people. Right?
Mm.
Nicotine is another drug that kills people. So I don't use that word with these molecules, because that's not the way I'm using them
I
as
hear
that
you.
term.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And medicine, I think, is a very valuable term in this space,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
especially with the stigma and everything that you were facing. I just kind of want to unpack a little. So you get the rug pulled, you're laid off. Was your I'm pretty sure, is it safe to say, like, your ultimate, like, first reaction is like, what am I gonna do? Ultimate, like, dread, right?
Can I be honest? Can I be honest with you?
Oh,
Can I be
no, be
totally honest
honest,
with you?
please.
So, October 2022 was the first time I sat with psilocybin. I got laid off December 2022. In those
Okay.
2 months, in those 2 months, I went from being the person who was hiding my substance abuse at CNN to openly telling people, "Hey, I'm microdosing. I'm using psilocybin." They're like, "What?" Yeah, that's what I'm
Mm.
doing. I'm using it. It's expanding my brain. My shows are better. I can see clear. And in all of this, right, as I share my story with other people, I want to manifest that I'm using psychedelics, that I'm using mushrooms, and I go, let me buy a T-shirt. Let me get some. I want to wear something. And of course, what was out there? Everything was very what?
Mm.
Very trippy, very psychedelic-ish, very tie-dye. And I said, look, if me, this guy with all this gray hair, starts talking to you about psychedelics with some tie-dye shirt on, what are most people going to say, Maggie? Listen,
Mhm.
hippie, listen,
Yeah,
stoner. Why don't you go listen to your Grateful Dead 8-track tapes and come
yeah.
back from the woods when you're not high, and maybe we can have an adult conversation. And that's where the first thing that really happened, which was Cultivating Wisdom, the apparel brand, was born, right? It was me
Ah.
giving this opportunity for myself to talk about it, and then other people, right? That if I wear a shirt that says microdosing, someone says, "Hey, you microdose? I've
Mhm,
heard about that. I've read about that. Can you cultivate me with some wisdom?" Or someone says,
mhm.
"Hey, you microdose? So do I. What are you microdosing?" "Oh, I'm microdosing psilocybin." "Oh, I'm microdosing LSD." So cultivating wisdom had already started
Mm,
before the layoff, to the point where when the
I
layoffs were
see.
coming, I was waiting for it. I was ready for it. I was like, yes, I dodged enough layoffs, right? And I
Oh
knew
my
I was going to
god.
be that number on the spreadsheet, but I was ready. You know what was funny is that my boss that day, I worked an early shift. I worked an early morning show, and um, when she came in, right, she was about 9 o'clock. She said, "Well, if the morning people, if you want to leave, you know what I mean, whatever." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Tell me now. Like, tell me
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah,
give me
yeah,
the
yeah.
out now. I want it now." But at the same time, it was like, I want the out now, but I'm still here. I gave
Mm,
CNN 25 years because they told me, look, you can leave right now and you can still get paid until, the whatever the end of the year date was. And I was like, no, I already have something, right? And plus,
mm.
I'm not gonna screw people over. People book vacations for Christmas and stuff, and I'm due to work. I'm not. That's not who I am.
So
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 so so
was your something else already cultivating wisdom?
yeah,
So you
cultivating
were
wisdom.
banking on that. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
curious because
I was
so
totally banking on it.
let's talk
I was,
about, though, when the
yeah.
mushrooms found you, like, what sort of experience did you have? Like, how were you so into this or trusting or just with certainty, with
Hmm.
all of this change and transition? Was it just
Hmm.
what I want to hear kind of about, yeah, like
Yeah.
your first
Yeah. It
experiences
was,
with the medicine.
it was really beautiful because there's a lot of little moving pieces to it, right?
Mm,
Um, one, so I get a chocolate bar, right? This person who's a friend, who, it was funny because I said, hey, so do you know how I can get these mushrooms? And he looked down at his very expensive bike and he said, these bikes don't pay for themselves. So that was the person. He was the person. He was a reliable person. So he gives me a chocolate bar. This was, we would do a bike ride here in Atlanta called M&M. About 200-300 people. We ride downtown Atlanta on Monday nights, every Monday night. And it just so happens that day, I take a square of the chocolate bar. So I literally had a microdose, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know. You don't need to smoke the whole joint of cannabis. You know, you don't have to rip the whole bong to get high. It's sort of, so I was like, oh, yeah, look, this piece is going to do it. And remember, at that time, I didn't seek psychedelics, or I didn't seek mushrooms as a therapy or an enhancer. It was, I want that new high. I want that recreational high. The cannabis isn't doing it for me. So I want the hallucinations. I want the trippiness. I want what he was feeling when I saw him on the mushrooms, right? That's what I want. And of course, that microdose, that didn't do it. The microdose was like, here's a smile, but that was it. And it was funny, Maggie, because I know myself. I know I know how I'm wired. And back then, any other substance, the next day, let's go again. Let's try. I got to get high or whatever.
Yeah.
And the mushrooms were like, no. Put that down. Don't worry about it. It'll come. And it was the next Monday. It was the Monday before Halloween 2022. We're in Atlanta, downtown. Houses are decorated. And I'm like, I'm going to have half the chocolate bar because I want to BALLs, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I have half the chocolate bar. I get on this bike ride. I literally have my own bicycle day, a la Albert Hoffman. And I'm on the bike, Maggie, and all of a sudden, half an hour later, we stop at a stoplight, and I go, oh my God, that's what my hands feel like? And I went, that's what it feels like to breathe. And I looked, and the sky was beautiful with all these wonderful stars, and the trees were 30 shades of gray. And I looked at all these humans around me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And that, to me, that was my that was my awakening. That was my awakening to this other thing. But it was awakening not only in that, when they turned the phrase psychedelics, the phrase, who was it? It was Huxley, who said, to fathom hell or feel angelic, take a pinch of psychedelic. Well, I felt the angelic part. Now came the hell part. The hell part was me driving in my car, hallucinating under the influence of psilocybin as the street lights were going off as fireworks. And my conscience said to me, what are you doing? Are you serious? You're behind the wheel of a car as you're hallucinating? You could wrap yourself around a telephone pole. You can kill somebody else. And who are you? You're a 55-year-old chasing highs? Is that who you are? And it was like, what, like, what was that? Who's speaking? Because I know, Maggie, in any other situation, I've driven home worse than that drunk. There was many times, there's nobody around, write that joint. I don't care. I'm in the car. This was like, what are you doing, guy? So, of course, that same night, as a good journalist, I'd worked at CNN for 25 years. I dug in. What just happened? What just happened in my body? What just happened in my mind? And all of a sudden I go, wait. Psychedelics are being used as medicine? Since when? And they're being used for PTSD, and they're being used for anxiety, and they're being used for depression. And wait a minute, what is this? Microdosing? People are using a small amount of a substance, not only to be better, but to overcome dependencies. And it was funny because the heart right away was like, did you read that? Did you see that? And the brain was like, we didn't see nothing. Rip that bong, bro. Don't worry about it. You just keep reading. And it was like, no. That's the ticket. That's the ticket to change the relationship with cannabis, the microdosing. And not only that, you're going to lose your job, guy. So you got to figure something out. And that was it. That was the catalyst to say, create Cultivating Wisdom. Start this apparel brand. At the time, Wonderland, the conference had gone on in Miami. So I'm like, wait a minute. There's like the Super Bowl of psychedelics. And it's not people going to get high. It's people going to educate. It's people going to to show that there's a different way, and there's lawyers, and there's attorneys, and there's politicians, and in all of this, of course, thanks to social media, I start reaching out to people in the psychedelic space, Paul Stamets, Rick Doblin, Dennis Walker, all these people, and just, hey, I'm here, look at what we're doing, this is what we're doing. So I get laid off. I got laid off for CNN, and I was ready. Like, I left the doors of CNN. Like, when I left CNN, it was a rebirth. It was literally, I'm born into this new reinvention of this new Cesar Marin.
Thank you so much for sharing. Well, especially this last piece where you're reborn, you're rebirthing. And, I always like to press, like, I feel, or we know in this work, it's not about becoming anyone new, right? I think it's more this process of remembering who we are before life taught us who to be. But also, I just love this perspective of, here you are, someone, and maybe the medicine helped you to get there, that had been in this position or working with CNN as a producer for 20 some years. And rather than taking that piece of news and, holy, what am I going to do? Like, I'm done. How can I possibly move forward? Like, I have friends. I've been laid off multiple times. I'm proud about it because I feel like it always leads to something, bigger, better, brand new.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, I think that's the whole key to life is like, what we have the choice, we can choose to dwell, or we can choose to get curious and align, hopefully align with our actions. So it's refreshing. And I feel like you're taking this concept, or have, with, I think I've seen some of your merch, and, it's an endless conversation around microdosing, endless. And I love to hear, you do work with people 50 and over. Are you having people, are they coming to you curious about microdosing? Is it more full spectrum? Are you working with people beyond microdosing? And what is your kind of like clientele? Is it people really later in life looking for a purpose? Are they, I'd kind of like to hear. It's probably full spectrum, but just some like success stories and how you do work with people.
Yeah, that's it. It's thank you for asking. I want to touch back on something that you said. It's sort of, which is really important. That it's remembering who you are, but there's also this ability to realize that there's more. There's something more. Like, you have the potential for so much more. You have the potential to open up. You know what I mean? And it's then using what you know is inside of you, remembering who you are, knowing that there's a possibility to do whatever you want, to be whoever you want. And you have to use the skills that you had before, but also the things that are in front of you, the new things that maybe you're closed off to. So that's, and for me, again, as I shared more my story, and I started to share with people, hey, I've overcome my cannabis dependency. I'm no longer loving my kids. I'm seeing them. I'm no longer loving my partner. I'm seeing her, right? And all these changes, more people my generation, there's a couple of young people here or there, but more people my generation. Why? Because he's been divorced. I've been divorced. He lost his job. I lost my job. He suffered onset depression. That's what I'm going through. His kids are older and hardly call anymore. That's me. So they saw themselves in me, and they're like, whoa, what are you doing? Tell me, cultivate me with that wisdom about how this at my age might be able to help me. Tell me how they're doing studies on people my age with a tap test, and the ones that are microdosing or tapping a lot quicker and better than the ones that aren't. So that's why I created Microdosing Over 50, right? Microdosingover50.com is a place where people can get honest, open, and objective information of what microdosing is, what the benefits are, what the studies are saying, how it's helped me, right? Because again, I never make recommendations. You will never hear me say, oh, you should microdose. No, I microdose. I'm going through what you're going through. This is how it's helped me. Oh, I see what you're going through. There's a study that says that microdosing helps people with what you're going through, but it's never you should. No, that's not my place. So for me, that's sort of touching with those people who were tired, Maggie, how many of us go to a doctor's office and they literally look at you in the eyes and go, we're not sure what you have, but try these pills. And if
Mm,
those don't work, come back and we'll try these. And if those mess up your liver, so wait a minute, Caesar, so you're telling me there might be a different way
mm,
that this depression that I'm going through, this anxiety that I'm going through, that maybe psilocybin can help me quiet it down a little bit, could help me sort
mhm.
of focus this way and not sort of all over the place. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So that's
Yeah.
why I created microdosing over 50 again. And in microdosing over 50, it's twofold. One, we teach, right? We teach what microdosing is, right?
Mhm,
And then we guide, right? You can take me on, and I'm going to spot you because I'm not
mm,
a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not.
mhm.
But I'm going to spot you. I'm
I
going to tell
love
you.
that. I
I'm
love
going to tell you.
spot. Yeah.
This is what protocols are. This is what citizen science is,
Mm,
and I'll help you, and we'll talk, and we'll go through it, and we'll set the rules of what I feel psychedelics is, which is 40, 20, 40.
mm.
40% the before you even put anything in your mouth, whether
Yes.
your intentions, what's your mindset, what's the setting, that's 40% of it. The
Mm,
experience itself, even in a microdose, it's only 20%. I mean,
mhm,
seriously. And then the 40% of that integration or that reintegration, right?
mhm,
So it's teaching people that by me spotting them, right? So they can
mhm,
they can they can hire me, and we'll sort of go through a wonderful 6-week program to
mhm,
really dial in the microdosing. What is the protocol that best fits you? What is the dosage that best fits you? So we'll do that. And then there's some courses, like you're already microdosing. Here are some tricks. Here are some things. So you can really take the microdosing to the next level with a bunch of different information and some
mhm.
wonderful, digital assets that you can get. Hey, here's, we have we have a document for you to sort of, how do you prepare to talk to your doctor about this,
Oh, I
right?
love that. Mm,
Beforehand, right?
yeah.
What questions you should ask him, how you should pride him. So there's that. So microdosing over 50 became that. You asked me if I work with other people.
Mhm,
There's been people, and it's very word of mouth,
mhm,
who say, Caesar, I have a calling to this, um, but I don't have thousands of dollars to
mhm,
go to a therapist or to go. You love me, right? Can you hold me? Can you hold my space, right? While
mm,
I take this journey.
mhm.
The medicine has always told me, serve, serve,
Love
serve.
it.
So how do I turn someone like that away? And it's again spotting. It's again spotting. Hey, if this is what we're going to do, let's prepare. Let's make sure we fast. Let's make sure we have stuff prepared. Let's make sure
Mm,
I'm there to spot you. You're going to climb the hill. You're going to climb up the wall, right? But I'm going to spot you, and I'm not going to climb anything for you. I'm not going to
mhm.
answer your questions. You're going to come. No, but I'm
Yeah,
here for you. I'm here to put a
yeah.
shoulder on your hand, and that's sort of. And now with the summit within, right? It was like, how do we really touch and talk to dads, right? So for me, it's
Mhm,
cultivating wisdom. The apparel brand, it's for
mhm.
everybody. Like I want
Yeah.
kids 20 wearing our shoes. We even have baby. We have little baby onesies that say "mush love."
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
that's yeah. So that was so cultivating wisdom. The apparel brand is for everyone. Microdosing over 50 is for anyone over 50, right? So that they see someone like them talking about this. It's not someone that came back from Burning Man or a Grateful Dead concert or some doctor. He's like me. He's like my grandpa, or he's like my dad, or he's like my uncle, and he's telling this what's going on. And then obviously the focus now is on that summit within, um, because um, there was a sense of how else can I serve, and it was an ayahuasca experience in Colombia last August,
Mm.
that grandmother medicine was like, look, you were uprooted from this country at the age of 4 to be planted in the United States so that you could really grow, so that you can go to
Mm.
school, so you can go to college, so that you can work at CNN. But now it's time for you to grab some of your seeds and plant them back here in Colombia
Oh,
and
wow.
bring
Okay.
people to this experience. And it was that, and it was funny, Maggie, because it originally, the idea was like, hey, these C-level sweet individuals who are just like here and like they need some healing. And could I be that bridge? Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's what I feel I am. I'm a bridge. I'm a bridge between the psychedelic curious
Mm.
and the medicine, right? Whether it's a retreat, whether it's learning to microdose, whether it's here's maps, whatever that is, I'm that bridge. And I thought I could be that bridge to those C-level sweet individuals. And then I looked in the mirror and I said, Cesar, not a C-level sweet individual. You're not a CEO. You're not a CFO. You're not a COO. How are these guys going to see themselves in you? And how are you going to see yourselves in them? It's not going to happen.
Mm.
And that's where I was like, well, then who am I? And I
I
was like,
see.
first and foremost, I'm a father. That's who I
Okay.
am. I'm a dad.
Mm.
And who are these other dads that really need this, right? Dads that deserve this, dads who have been this calling. Where are they going? And from market research, from research that I've done, they're like, well, Caesar, you know what I did? I went to a retreat, but there was a soccer mom, there was a veteran, there was a guy who had done ayahuasca 480 times, there was a
Mm.
backpacker, and yeah, there was another CEO dad, but he just seemed like so.
So he
So
was
my
wanting
idea,
more of a focused kind of group, cured.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a curated, like-minded,
Mm-hmm.
like lived experience individuals who can really pull at each other's common strings and say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know what? I went through that with my kid, and this is what I did. Holy
Yes.
cow, you're going through that with your daughter? That's the same thing. And maybe the medicine can show them a different way. Maybe the medicine can show them that your daughter doesn't need another pair of Lululemons. What she needs is for you to take her out on a date so that she can see what a man that respects her would treat her like.
Mm.
Because in your world, you're just thinking she needs a new iWatch, she needs a new phone, she needs new Lululemons, she's asking for this and she's asking for that. And because of that, I got to spend another 2-3 hours in the office. And then when she really needs me, I'm not there. So it's those dads again, who have gotten the calling, right?
Mm.
Who feel that they need this. And second,
Mm.
really know that they deserve this, that they
Yeah.
deserve it, that as opposed to last year when they went on that vacation and they spent pretty much the same amount of money and they came back like, I'm at my wit's end and now I got this. No, you
Right.
deserve this. You
Yeah. I
deserve
mean,
this.
I
So
think
those,
that's one of the hardest pieces that I would say I'm not necessarily up against, but I might personally have this. Yeah, it's hard to say that uh, I'm deserving of an experience like this. I think
Mhm.
sometimes because it's something that many people have never experienced, but also just legalities and like, and so how do you really, I think it's really important when working with people that they give themselves permission, right? It's just constantly like kind of becomes a little cliche at some point. But when you
Mm.
really sit back and look at working with this medicine, it so much of it comes down to being able to be open and receptive and not, have your guard up and I think that yeah, I really just all of this and getting back to kind of like,
Mm.
your father, um, this retreat, I
Mm.
think we just forget in this day and age, and I know we have similar messages about just being present. And I somehow lost these slides that I was attempting to share, but I wanted you to talk about, you had made some social media posts about talking about being present when you're not even there. Can you
Yeah.
give us some yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it was, yeah, I think it's again, it goes back to, um, and I'll share this story a little bit. A couple of months ago, I'm driving here in Atlanta, and in front of me, I see this white Ferrari, right? Beautiful, not a red Ferrari, a white one, and it was just sparkling, like that was reflecting everything. And I'm like, oh, who's driving that car? And as I drive next to him, there's a father, and here's his daughter, about 11, 12 years old. She's like this, and he's
Mhm.
driving stoplight. What does he do? Pulls out his phone. Next stoplight, the same thing. And I was like, okay, that guy has everything, right? He's got everything. If that's his car, Maggie, if that's his car, imagine his house, imagine his shoe collection, imagine his watch collection. He's got everything, right? No,
Mm,
he's got nothing, because at that moment in time, which is the only thing he has, that moment, the most important thing, which is the attention of his daughter,
Mhm.
he doesn't have. It's the furthest thing. So we have these dads that aren't present. They're at the breakfast table and they're here with their coffee, and the kids are
Mhm.
there. You know what I mean? So for me, as my kids got older and I saw them more, I said, how can I connect with them on a daily basis
Mhm.
without me? How's it going? How you
Mhm.
doing? How was
Mhm.
today? Dad, the same as yesterday. So what I did
Mhm.
was I figured, when are their birthdays? So my daughter's birthday is November 8th, 11
Mhm.
8, November 8th. So at 11:08, every day, every single day, she gets something on her phone, a smiley face, a text, an
Mhm.
article on Britney Spears coming to Atlanta because I know she
Mhm.
loves Britney Spears, whatever it is. But every day she knows I'm present for her. She knows I'm there.
Mm.
And there comes the days where it's like, whatever, I'm in a meeting, the phone went off, but I couldn't. And or either she'll be like, Dad, you okay? Or if she knows I'm okay, she'll be like, dude, you missed your shot. Better luck tomorrow.
Oh my
What it
gosh.
does,
Yeah.
Maggie, is it makes her feel safe at that moment. And she knows I can count on my dad every single day at 11:08, which means I can count on him whenever, right? And it's
It's
not just
twofold
working.
too, though. Yeah,
Of
twofold for
course.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. Yeah, true. No, it's all me. Like, in other words,
Mhm.
me knowing that I'm there for my kids is evaluate. It's just priceless. And
Mhm.
knowing and not expecting anything back from them. I'm not doing it
Mhm.
so that they reach back out. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is them feeling safe,
Mhm.
them feeling my presence, and me
Mhm.
knowing that I'm present for them, that there's no other distraction, that I can be in a doctor's office and in an appointment and the phone goes off and I can say, Doc, give me 2 seconds. This is more important than anything else.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that many are getting inspired because it's such a
Set your
simple.
alarms. Set your
Yes,
alarms. The simple
yes.
things. And not just for your kids. Do it for your partner. Do it for your
Mm,
parents. Do it for your
mhm,
parents. Look, I have a guy who, a real good friend of mine, attorney. And he and his dad have that typical that relationship that maybe some sons and fathers have. There's like
mhm,
this whatever. There's this barrier for whatever. And we were talking, and he's like, man, I wish my dad would reach out more. You know what I mean? My dad sort of, he's not interested in my success, and whatever, and he doesn't reach out to me. And I'm like, how often do you reach out to him?
mm, mhm.
So I said, look, I need you to do me a favor. Just 30 days. Set an alarm for your dad's birthday. Every
Mhm.
day, no matter what, send him something. He texted me yesterday. He goes, it's working. So
Aw.
it's like, it's
Well,
working. That
yeah,
simple little thing that I
you know,
tell people,
yeah.
the day has 1,400 minutes. If you don't have 1 minute to send someone that little text, and why not 10 minutes to send 10 people that little text on a daily basis? It's those
Mm,
little things, Maggie. It's those little things that really make a difference. And I always wonder, why didn't I do that before medicine came into my life? Because I wasn't
mm.
awake. I wasn't
We
aware.
weren't,
I,
yeah.
no, I didn't see my kids. I loved them. I loved them. Of course I did. My kids, but I didn't see them. Now I see them.
Yeah, I think, it's such a special practice and one that I may adopt. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, kinda just getting back to, just this idea of how critical and also this piece where some of us may not even realize that we're missing out on being present because we're
yeah.
so used to, just the monotony of life. But yeah, just this whole idea when the rug is pulled or we
Mm,
are going to have to reinvent or transition and transform, I guess. I think I just I'm so thankful to psilocybin just because not only has it taught me so much about life and death and rebirth and transforming and transmuting and alchemizing and all of these things. It's just this idea of when we don't know exactly how it's going to end up, which we don't know and ever really, right? How
mm,
can we embrace this uncertainty and like step into the unknown and not with fear? and not with projecting, oh my God, I just lost my job, I'm never going to get a, retirement, whatever it is. Yeah, it's really being able to just kind of ease up on this. We don't have to figure everything out. And if we do, we're not enjoying if we try to, we're failing to enjoy what's right in front of our face.
So two things there, which I think are really important. There's many times, at least once a day, where I take a deep breath and I do a 360, and I go, wait a minute, hold on a second. The roof over my head. There's food in the refrigerator. I got shoes in the closet. I don't have animals chasing me. I don't have another tribe trying to take my space. I literally have everything I need. I have everything I need, right? When you look at life that way, then it's different. Then it's different because we're not living in the past. I would have done this. I could have done that. We're not living so much in the future of, it goes back to, again, Maggie, and someone said to me this week, and it really hit home, and it's a sort of mantra that I have. But when I heard it from them, when I heard it talking from them, and they had heard it from me, it just really hit home differently, right? Here's a person who had just gone through a 7.4 earthquake, okay? Everything around him is demolished. It's destructed. It's shambles. Where do we even start? And when I talked to him, I said, how are you doing? He said, it's the best day of my life. And I went, what are you talking about? He goes, I didn't die today. Best day of my life. How many people are dead right now? How many people have literally nothing? How many people are injured? I didn't die in an earthquake. Best day of my life.
Wow.
How could it not be? How could it not be? So when we realize, Maggie, that today is the best day of my life. And why? Yesterday's not a day. Yesterday's a memory. There's nothing you could do to change that. Tomorrow, that's not a day either. That's a fantasy. We don't know if that's going to happen. So if you don't realize that today is the best day of my life.
Yes.
Then I don't have the Mercedes. Okay, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. I got too many bills. That's okay. So does Coca-Cola. And no one's tearing them down. You know what I mean?
It's so special and refreshing again to hear you. I think, unfortunately, it's sometimes it's shocking how quickly the negative chatter and the stories and the lies that are constantly running up in here. But I think
not when you're microdosing.
Exactly what we can all do is. Not only microdosing obviously is one of the most amazing tools for self-discovery and understanding our patterns and all of these things, but also just, again, learning to take pause before we react or initiate some sort of action. It's really just leaning into the uncomfortability, but also, I think that can be one of the most impactful things before we even move.
It's apart from the birthday alarms. There's 3 other alarms that I have that go off. 4 alarms that go off during the day to help me regulate that. Right. One is an alarm that goes off at 11:11. At 11:11, the alarm goes off. Right, and I take 11 deep breaths. By the 6th breath, I'm like, okay. By the 7th breath, I'm like, yeah. By the 11th breath, I'm like, best day of my life. At 1:11, the alarm goes off, and I find someone in my contact list on my phone, and I send them a voice note, not a text, a voice note, so they can hear the sincerity in my voice, telling them, hey, I was thinking about you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Never with the expectations that they're going to return the phone call. But many times I've gotten, Cesar, you don't know how much I needed that. Or Cesar, I've been thinking about you, and thank God you reached out, because 1:11. At 3:33, the alarm goes off, and I take 3 minutes to move. Let me move. I've been sitting here all day. Let me move around, right? Let me regulate. Let me realize that life is beautiful. And then at 5:55, the alarm goes off, and I take 5 minutes to reflect on what the day has been, how beautiful it's been, how lucky I am. I didn't die
Mm,
yet today. I'm still here. You know what I mean?
wow.
And I don't mean to bring the death thing up in the sense of a morbid way, but it was really that lesson really became so evident last year. I'm sure you remember I had started a podcast called the Love You Wealth podcast with a really good friend of
Mm,
mine, Gary Sealhorse. And Gary, the guy looked like an Adonis. I mean, fit
mm,
as a fiddle. Gary 10 years ago had a heart attack. And
okay.
he vowed never again. I'm going to be there for my kids.
Mm,
Diet, nutrition, exercise, red light therapy, talk therapy, psychedelics, all of it. He was
mhm,
perfect specimen. Last
mm.
November, he does what he loves to do, get a good workout on the San Diego beach. He then got a surfboard, went out and got a couple of waves, and didn't make it to his car. 55
Mm,
years old, 55 years young. So I
mm,
tell people, look, we don't know if we have 2 days left. We don't know if we have 2 weeks left. We don't have 2 months left. We don't have 2 years left. We don't know if we
mhm,
have 20 years left. But if I
mhm.
don't make those amazing, especially at our age, look, my age at 50, let's be honest, Maggie, at 50, you realize there's 50 that way. There's
Mhm.
not 50 in front of you. At 40, you're like, I can make 80. I can make 80. But at 50, so you realize, wait a minute, more than half the trip around the sun is done. So what am I going to do? What am I going to
Yeah.
do? And if the plant medicine helps you be okay, wait a minute, I'm here. I have everything I need. Today is the best day of my life. I don't have these distractions.
Mhm.
Whatever's left, I'm going to use them to be happy. That's a magic formula.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to talk about because I think both of us have been impacted, so beneficially. I think, uh, but in real life, there's still a lot of fear and stigma, and I think it's one conversation at a time.
Hmm.
But what I really enjoy just hearing you talk about is really like you have this new, or not even new, but this perspective of today's the best day of my life. It's not necessarily like you're not having mushrooms in order to achieve this feeling and this
No.
knowing like this is like and so yeah, I kind of want to talk about, I'm curious, I'm a huge cannabis lover, and
Mhm.
how did working with psilocybin change your toxic addiction with cannabis? I'm just curious.
Hmm. One, the psilocybin asked me, who's in control?
Mm,
Who's in control? You are or the cannabis is?
okay.
No, I have to be in control. Okay, so if you're in control, what control means is that you can say, not right now, not
Mm,
right now, right?
mhm.
I'm going to be honest with you, Maggie. That doesn't mean that I never have smoked cannabis since, but the
Yeah.
times I've smoked cannabis, they've been with intention.
Okay.
There's an
Yeah.
intention to do it, right? Friends
Mhm.
came over, had a long day, whatever. Someone had a little bit of cannabis. Okay, fine. Yeah, no, there's an intention. I want to hang out with my friends, but it never was. And I tell people, look, when my relationship with cannabis was at its just darkest,
Mhm.
was just she was controlling me to the point where it was like I had no control.
I see.
If there was cannabis around, I wasn't happy till it was gone. I was not happy. Maggie, right now there's mushrooms everywhere in this house, one way or another. And there's never, God, we had a bad day. We haven't sold t-shirts in 5 weeks. No one signed up for the retreat. Let me go do some mushrooms. Never,
Mhm.
never, ever.
Yeah.
I know I have a relationship with them. I
Mm,
There's intention to sit with them. And with cannabis, for me, cannabis had become an escapism,
I
right?
see.
It
Yeah.
really got fueled
Mhm.
in my first marriage, sort of escape
Mhm.
whatever that was, right? And it continued afterwards because it was this sense of like, yeah, let me escape, let me feel okay, whatever. So I never had intentions to use it because I'm a big believer. Cannabis is a beautiful medicine, and
Yeah.
cannabis is a beautiful medicine for people who might have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
Cannabis is a beautiful medicine for people who are anorexic. Cannabis is a beautiful medicine for people who are going through chemotherapy,
Well, yeah, I
right?
think it comes down to how we identify with our quote unquote addiction and control.
A
And
relationship.
yeah,
The
my beautiful
relationship.
business partner Angie is, we are constantly just talking about, um, you know, how psilocybin helps us gain back control. So when we're, I'm very loud about the psilocybin helped me out of my alcohol, depression, downward spiral, where I felt completely out of control. But yeah, this is all about how we identify with our
Correct.
relationships to, I guess, our relationships to everything,
I mean,
but
yeah, it's like I tell people, it's a bad relationship when you set off an alarm in CNN. Like when the cannabis was so controlling me that it was, hey, no, go outside. Maggie, I set off an alarm in an edit bay in CNN because I didn't have the mental warehouse to say, no, go to the car and rip that vape. No, just go to the edit bay. No one's just go to the edit bay and rip the vape and nothing will happen. And of course, I go back to my desk and next thing I know, security's coming in and they're like, has anybody seen anybody smoking here? And I was like, who's talking about smoking? Everybody's smoking here. We're just working here as I'm downing Doritos and Dunkin' Donuts. And it's like what is that like? What is that
it's
like?
A wake up call, right? And
yeah,
I think they all, it's every time for me, these wake up calls or the rug pulled under, or, it does force you to face yourself. But again, so thankful for the plant medicine intelligence to be able to hold me when I do decide to face myself. But yeah, I love hearing how I love hearing how, or we know like just the full spectrum of this medicine, like just baseline, microdosing. And if we're doing it right, we really don't feel much at all. But it's just like this, for me, it feels like this hug, this layer of support. I'm being held. And then, then we get into working with PTSD and depression and addiction. But I think overall, just hearing you talk about just like this general, like, shift about, today is the best day of your life, really truly enjoying living for today, and being able to embody that, like post any sort of microdosing, macrodosing, is like such a key thing. And I think we all need to I hope that we can all just focus on more presence.
Yeah, centered. It's centered, and it's part of. It's part of this psychedelic world, right? Because, and I'm sure you've been more than anyone surrounded around it, because it's sort of you work so hand in hand with people. People are they're fearful. There's this fear of psychedelics, right? Whenever I'm going to lose my mind, I'm going to go crazy, whatever. Or there's a hype, dude. You do one microdose, rainbows and butterflies the rest of your life. No. It's not there. It's in the middle. It's that presence, right? And I tell people, look, you're scared. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror. You want to see something scary? Or look at yourself in the mirror until you smile and then realize you have it all. Like you're alive. You did. In other words, it was. I was talking to these young kids. They were like in late 20s and like, well, you know what? Sort of. We're trying to figure out what the purpose is. We're trying to figure out what our purpose is. We're trying to figure out the purpose of life. It's like, the purpose of life is very easy. Don't die. Don't die, because then there is no life. Don't die. Make sure that you don't die. The rest of it is a blessing. The rest of it is an experience. The rest, even the low ones, right? How do we get out of it? How do we see beyond the low? How do we realize, like you said, right, that remember who we were, and at the same time, by remembering who we are, realize what's in front of us, the potential that there is, that there's a miracle around every potential corner. So why am I going to stop looking around the corners? Why? If potential, there could be a miracle.
Yeah, I think it's so helpful. Like, sometimes when we are noticing certain thought patterns or negativity, it's really about, I try to do this exercise with myself and with clients, like, what are the truths? I was working with a client just this week in ceremony, and we were just talking about, what her fears might be, if any, and just through lived experiences and some pretty heavy assault type of things in her life. She's consistently living in fear, or just feeling not safe, like at any moment something could happen, right? And she's later 50s, and done all sorts of therapies and things, but just really like talking through in the moment, you know, in the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
We're sitting in your home where if you needed to, you have your phone next to you. We could call you. We're just walking
Yep.
through.
Yep.
And same thing, you know, I work with people who their biggest problem is trying to figure out what they're going to do when they retire. But instead of looking at that, you know, that's a beautiful problem to have, if you ask
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I think it's so quick to just already get to, well, I don't have this and I don't have this and nothing. I don't have, and
Yeah, I
um,
don't. God,
but
yeah, I
then
don't.
it's stripping it down to the truths. Look at
Yeah.
you've set yourself up for retirement for the last 30 some years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have options, you have these things. But
Mm.
it's just the stories are so quick. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, yes, it's
Yeah.
how do we shut ourselves up?
There's so many really good little exercises, right? It's sort of whatever um I ask people, do you meditate? Is meditation part of your practice? I don't, dude, see my life? I'm not trying to meditate. But
Mhm.
I have time to meditate. And what is meditating? What? I said, no, 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 no. Here's I'm gonna give you the easiest, most rewarding meditation that you can possibly have. You need to take 10 minutes of your day. Remember, 1,400 minutes in the day.
Mhm.
1,400. It's actually
Mhm.
1,440. Okay? Give me
Okay.
10. Just give me 10 of those.
Yeah.
And in those 10, I need you to go outside. I need you to tell all your things, your people, whatever, your phone, whatever it is. This is my time. These are my 10 minutes of this whole long day. And you go outside and you close your eyes and you just listen. Listen to the
Mm.
birds, listen to the cars, listen to the airplane, listen to the guy that's cutting his grass. Listen, just be
Mm.
present and listen. And
Mhm.
yes, there's a car that's going to go by and you're going to be like, oh, I got to remember to change the oil in the car. Shut up. You can't change the oil now. We're listening to the birds. Shut up.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
you could do that for 10 minutes. One, you realize that 10 minutes is a long time with your eyes closed, whatever. So don't tell
Mhm.
me, oh, I don't have 10 minutes. Yeah, you have 10 minutes. And
Mhm.
at the same time, it's such a small amount of time that if I
Yeah,
can quiet my brain, my thoughts, and just listen for 10 minutes, it's such a practice. And it was funny because I then realized where that practice came from, or where that thought pattern of, hey, take 10 minutes just to listen. Buddhist monks, they'll sneak up on their apprentices, and the idea is that you have to be so present that you can hear everything, and you hear
Mm.
the master when he's coming behind you without having to see him, because you're listening. And if you don't listen, he's gonna whack you. So just listen, be present, be present.
Yeah, I'm gonna argue even 3 to 5 minutes, and before
Yeah.
even getting out of bed is my constant just, "Hey, we all can do this practice before we reach for the phone, before we put our feet on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
even when we come back from going to the bathroom." But
Mm-hmm.
yes, how do we
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's staying regulated or
Mm-hmm.
feeling regulated, so I wake up kind
Mm-hmm.
of in a frenzy, but literally just a couple breaths and closing my eyes and just trying to feel some sort of connection or beyond the madness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, it's night and day difference if I don't do these simple things. And
Totally,
um,
totally. And
yeah.
there's something else I tell people, Maggie, important to try to practice, that this is not what sleeps next to you, that it's a human, that it's something that sleeps next to you. Because
Yeah.
if this is what's sleeping next to you, and this is the last thing that you're looking at before you go to sleep, and this is the first thing that you wake up to after sleeping, what's the person next to you, or what's the world
Mm,
if you don't have that person next to you, right? So I love the practice of just leaving it out of the bedroom. Oh, I need an alarm. Fucking
mm,
buy a $10 alarm at Target. You know what I mean? You don't need an alarm, right? So this is this. You want to be in bed like this. You know what I mean? You want to wake up like
yeah.
this. Like, it's
Well,
enough. And it goes back to the present and connected, because of these things, right? We have been able to connect to people on the other side of the globe. So when you ask,
mm,
are were you connected? You know, I would sort of, I'm connected to, my aunt in Africa. No, are you connected to the people in front of you? Are you
mm,
connected to the human mushrooms that are right in front of your eyes. Have you spread your mycelial network to connect to all these other human mushrooms, to have them help you grow and you help them grow? I mean, that's what we are.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just love some of these messages that you're sharing, and just hoping that, people who are, I was going to pose this question to you, and I try to ask each guest, but yeah, if there's somebody out there listening and, just kind of unsure of working with the medicine or where to start, and obviously people can contact you, but you just kind of have a general message about, I find myself just sharing that for me, this medicine, just the understanding that I believe it's here to support me and only help me and only to show me truths that are going to help my higher self, my higher good. So I don't know if I'm like stealing the show because those are my words, but do you have any kind of a message around just working with the medicine, and for someone who's just kind of curious and what, and we can get back to some of your offerings too. I wanted to
the curiosity, the curiosity is important. I think the curiosity comes as part of the calling, right? You get the sense that's out there. Could this help? Could this not help? Now I'm curious. Educate yourself, dig deep, ask, find your community, find your people, find your psychedelic society, find a book, educate yourself, right? Don't just jump in and say, hey, Cesar microdose, so I'm going to go microdose. No. That's not how this works, right? Have a relationship with whatever you're going to ingest. Realize that you're going to give yourself consent to ingest something that in a macrodose can shake your brain up like this, that in a museum dose can help you sort of, that in a microdose it might help you zap in, but it's sort of things are going to change. Things are going to change, and you're giving yourself consent to do this. So for me, the message is, if there's that calling, educate yourself, find your people, ask questions, ask about sourcing, ask where it's legal. It's important. It's an important part of this, right? Legality, and Maggie, you and I, we're not here to recommend that anyone does anything illegal whatsoever. Know your legality, know your states. That's why we're going to Colombia to sit with ayahuasca, because it's legal there, right? That's so, but again, people are doing this, right? People go, oh, so isn't it illegal? I'm like, yeah, but isn't fraud illegal? Isn't embezzlement illegal? So there's a lot of things that are illegal
and the
that go
idea
on.
of free will, right? I mean, there's so many people who have just been unable to find just relief, or they're treatment resistant, or I could be sitting in a grassy knoll and simply put my hand into the dirt and pick up and put dirt in my mouth, but it could be something growing from the ground, for Pete's sake. Anyway, but this, yes, free will, we should be able to explore ourselves and do it, know what we're doing and feel good. And so yeah, I again constantly just saying, like, any conversation around any of this is just so I just love it.
And the other thing, Maggie, is it's not just the psychedelic curious, right? It's important for the people whose lives have been changed with these molecules. And when we had Rick on the Love You Wealth podcast, he talked a lot about this, about how we need bridges. We need people's stories, right? And I understand, look, I'm sure there's soccer moms that can't wear a microdosing shirt on because the other mom's going to go, no, Billy can't go to her house because she's on mushrooms. I understand that. But there's a lot of us that can. There's a lot of us that can have these conversations and say, hey, look, yeah, this is going on. There's studies going on. Eli Lilly just bought a huge, whatever the conversation that you can start. And by the way, this is how they've changed my life. And people go, wait a minute, hold on a second. Like, you're not tripping, like whatever. You're not in your, and you're changed. You've changed. Like, things are different. Yeah, because of this. Are you serious? Yeah. Those conversations are so important for us to sort of spread, for us to show that we're normal people, to show that we're soccer moms, to show that we're lawyers, to show that we're doctors, to show that we're firemen, to show that we're podcast hosts, to show that we're entrepreneurs, using these molecules as life performance enhancers. Life performance enhancer. That's what they are.
Life performance enhancer. We go back and forth with human optimization. I mean, yeah, I think you just nailed it. I think we are hitting the 1 hour mark, however, so we might have to wrap up here. I want to make sure that we let's call attention to the Cultivating Wisdom site again. Is that
Yep. So
cultivatingwisdom.com?
definitely cultivatingwisdom.net.
.net.
A wonderful apparel brand there. I'm actually going to put together a little Maggie 20 code so you can get a 20% discount using that code on anything in the apparel brand. I'm going to go make sure we set that up now. There's also, of course, Microdosing over 50. If you, your parents, someone you know who's over 50 who might need this information, who you might poke at their childhood curiosity, or who have gotten the calling, or even who are already microdosing and they want to ramp it up, microdosingover50.com. They can go there and get wonderful information. And again, if you're a father, if you know a father who needs something different, who deserves something different, Summit-Within down in Colombia, the end of October, just 10 fathers. So not a lot of spots left. We're going to change men. They're going to come back differently. You can also find me on social media, Cultivating Wisdom, cultivating.wisdom on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I post a lot on LinkedIn, different informations. You know, there was a great study that just came out that I saw on, they were doing a study on anorexia and psilocybin. So I'll share stuff like that because that's important too, not just our stories, but what the science is telling us. So there's different little places that you can definitely find me. Share your story, spread much love, spread as much love as you can. Love even the people that you hate. Find a reason to love them. Let go, forgive, whatever that is. Don't hold on to stuff. And a mistake that a lot of people will make, Maggie, and I'm a cyclist, and if I rode my bicycle like this, what would happen?
You're sideways.
Literally, what would happen?
Yeah,
I'd crash. Don't live your life like that. Stop living your life looking in the past. There's nothing back there. Learn from it, maybe, but don't dwell on it. Don't look at it. Don't live your life like this. It's here. And it's also not 3 blocks down the road. It's right here. So spread much love. Don't forget, today is the best day of your life. Maggie, thank you so much for being part of the best day of my life. Anyone listening to this, thank you for being part of the best day of my life. Thank
Cesar, well, thank you. And audience, anyone listening, tuning in today, I'll be sure to share some of Cesar's offerings along the way. I'm just so thankful that we have connected and been able to keep in touch. And I am so excited for all that you have going on. And you just continue to evangelize. And it's so special. Yeah, I'll be here mentioning some of your things along the way. And for everyone tuning in today, thank you so much. We will be back. Everyone have a beautiful, beautiful eclipse day as well.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Deep bow of gratitude, sister, for, again, opening your doors for me to come and share my story, for us to talk about this. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cesar. All right, we'll be in touch. Cheers, everyone. Have a good day.